who's ready to freak out? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Whitley, and if you couldn't tell, today we are doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I love watching and doing this tag every single year. It is such a booktube staple. We're basically just gonna go over how my reading has been for the first half of the year and freak out about it. After I freak out about the fact that the year is halfway over. How is it already July? Anyway, I digress. It has been a really great reading year for me so far. First, we're gonna go over some of my stats because your girl loves numbers. I will put my stats up here if you want to peruse at your leisure. I have read 57 books so far this year. Like, that's damn good for me. I don't know if it's a lot, and I don't know what the benchmark is. I don't know in comparison if this is good or not, but I've read 18,477 pages. Sounds like a lot. In saying all of that, the numbers are not the goal. It is enjoying what you are reading. And my average rating has been decent, but it has been hindered a little bit by not having that many 5 stars this year. But I'm hopeful that the second half of the year we can get that average rating up. But let's get into the questions, shall we? First one being, what is the best book that you have read so far this year? Funnily and crazily enough, the first book that I read this year has not been beaten. It is When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. I will say the less you know about this book going in, the better. But what I will tell you is we follow this woman who comes home from her waitressing job after a crazy incident at work. She's met with even more craziness when she gets home and finds a little boy cowering in her bushes, which sets off an insane chain of events leading her to have to go on the run with this little boy as they try to escape his monstrous father. This was nonstop action, constantly climbing in tension, so many twists and turns. I absolutely adore Nat Cassidy's writing because he has this way of building this nonstop suspense, but breaking it up with these moments of levity and humor. And you would think that would kind of break the tension and the suspense, but it does not. Like, you know, right around the corner, some shit's about to hit the fan. His writing is also beautiful while also maintaining this horrific gruesomeness. This was such like 80s horror coded, and I loved it so much for that, mixed with a little bit of fairy tale, a little bit of melancholy, and the characters in this, stunning. I felt so connected to these characters. If you know nothing else, know that this is a book about fear, how subjective it is, how it changes throughout your life, but it never goes away. But not only is this a book about fear, it is a book about grief. It is a book about regrets. It is a book about complex family dynamics. This was such a unique story. It was funny and silly and goofy and fun, but at the same time, gruesome and horrifying. I never wanted to put this book down. Perfect pacing, so fast paced, so bingeable. There were so many perfect ebbs and flows while being unrelentlessly dreadful. This book was absolute insanity, and I don't say that lightly. This book was a trip, and I loved every single second of it. Even if you're not a horror reader, I would recommend this to you. I really feel like anybody that reads this could find enjoyment out of it. So yeah, that has been my favorite book of the year so far. Incredible. Question number 2. What has been my favorite sequel so far this year? I have been trying to get back into my fantasy era. I've been trying to read more series because I have been a standalone girly for a few years now, and I'm trying to get back into the series. My favorite sequel that I have read has to go to Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. This is the finale in the Crimson Moth duology. I absolutely adored both of these books. We follow Rune, who is this renegade witch living on an island that has outlawed witchcraft. Witches are being hunted down, eradicated, and executed. By day, Rune is a normal socialite, but by night, she is the Crimson Moth. She goes around and helps witches evade capture and escape custody. A witch that is really important to Rune ends up being captured. So in order to try to gather information, she decides that she's going to try to swoon the captain of the Blood Guard, which is the captain of the witch hunters. Gideon, on the other hand, has been hunting the Crimson Moth for the past 2 years. And when a new lead points to Rune's possible involvement, he decides to take advantage of her recent interest and try to swoon her right back to try to get information for himself. An incredible, truly iconic enemies to lovers storyline, not just through the first book, but through this one as well. I loved that we got the continuation of the enemies to lovers into the second book. I loved the constant internal struggle between both Rune and Gideon, kind of where their loyalties lie and what kind of people they want to be in the future. The chemistry and the banter in this duology, next level, incredible. There were scenes in some of these books that I didn't know I needed until I read them. I was like, oh, that's what I've been missing. We get some fake dating, which is always a good time. And I really enjoyed how everything wrapped up. I mean, some things were absolutely predictable, sure, but an incredible fun time. If you like enemies to lovers, if you like witches, if you like romantasy at all, absolutely recommend. Question number 3. Is there a new release that you have not gotten around to yet, but are really excited to? Yes, absolutely there is. I cannot believe that I haven't got around to The Caretaker by Marcus Cleaver yet. I read, why do I always struggle with coming up with the name? We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver last year. Absolutely incredible. Mind twisty, mind bendy. Absolutely loved it. So the fact that I haven't picked this up yet, granted, it's on my July TBR, so it's coming. It's coming. But I am so excited to dig into this. I'm really hoping that it is just as twisty, just as suspenseful, just as like mind-boggling, make me want to crawl down a Reddit rabbit hole. We're following a woman who is in desperate need of a job, and when she finds a job posting for this caretaker to watch over this house for, I think it's like a weekend, she absolutely takes it. But there are these really weird rules that she has to follow when taking care of this house. And that's all I know. That's all I want to know. I'm so excited. Question number 4. What is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I have quite a few, not gonna lie. Near the top of the list is going to be Scorpion Deep by C.G. Drews. This is another YA from them. I tried their adult earlier in the year. It just did not hit the same as their YA stuff does. Not only do we get another YA gay, like obsession love story, but it's oceanic this time. And your girl loves some oceanic horror. I am so excited. We also have the finale of the Vicious series, Victorious by V.E. Schwab. I read both Vicious and Vengeful last year, so it's still pretty fresh in my mind. Granted, when I read it, I thought it was going to be a duology, because I usually don't start series unless they're finished, but thankfully, I have not had to wait a decade like a lot of other people. I've only had to wait like a year, so I can't complain too much. I'm so excited to read the finale. Question number 5. What has been the biggest disappointment of the year so far? I had quite a few, unfortunately, but I think the biggest disappointment has to go to Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. I loved Shadow and Bone. It was like a 4.5, but Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising just really fell flat for me. And this series is such a staple, but if you don't know what it's about, it is a YA fantasy kind of romance that follows Alina as she is whisked away to be trained as one of the Grisha, which are this world's magic wielders. She has this one-of-a-kind power that just kind of emerges out of nowhere, and she is believed to be the savior. She is the chosen one. And we follow her trials and tribulations as she tries to thwart the villain and eradicate this darkness that cuts this country in half. I feel like throughout this whole series, nothing really happens. Like, there's so much buildup and plotting and planning, and it all led up to this, what should have been like a super climactic finale battle, but it just fell really short for me. I don't know if it was because I never really felt connected to any of these characters or like how it was plotted out. I don't know. But I feel like what should have been high stakes, tense, suspenseful things that you're supposed to feel during a final conclusion, boss battle, I just didn't get any of that from this. The writing wasn't bad. I can definitely see the potential, and I am interested in picking up more Leigh Bardugo stuff. But after the first book, the series just did not do it for me. Question 6. What is the biggest surprise that I've had this year? I think I'm gonna have to go with Thrum by Meg Smitherman. This is a short little horror sci-fi romance novella, and you may be thinking, those things don't really go together, but she meshes all of these elements so well together. It was incredible. We follow an astronaut named Amy who awakens from her like cryo sleep to find that she is stuck in deep space. All of her crewmates are dead. She's out of gas. She can't communicate to home. So as a little bit of a Hail Mary, she sends out a distress call and something answers. She's contacted by this being who calls himself Dorian, and she's there to study aliens. So when he invites her onto his ship to help in any way he can, she's like, yeah, absolutely. But Dorian and this ship are so much more than meet the eye. Dorian's not human, but he's able to like morph himself into a human that he knows Amy would find appealing. Oh, and there's also this like incessant hum on the ship that Amy can like feel in her bones, and it's like whispering to her. It's driving her a little crazy. And even as her mind is like struggling to make sense of her surroundings, she cannot help but feel drawn to Dorian, who is really her only source of comfort and solace in this ship of mazes and puzzles and impossibilities. I had never read Meg Smitherman before, so I wasn't sure what to expect, but I loved this. This was such a fun, weird, addictive, fast-paced, unique story. This packed such a punch for only being 144 pages. I was enraptured the entire time. I never really knew where Dorian's motivations lied, but I just could not help but ship Dorian and Amy together. There was just something about it. The constant tension and the absolute fever dreaminess of it all was so well done. This was so many things. It was ominous. It was sexy. It was gory. It was creepy. It was claustrophobic. It was just plain weird, but in the best possible way. If you're a fan of the like weird lit that I am such a fan of, think things like Bunny or Our Wives Under the Sea, or if you just like a bit of like monster romance with a touch of like horror and spookiness, absolutely recommend. Question number 7. Favorite new to me author. It could be either a debut author or just new to me. I have a couple. First and foremost, Meg Smitherman, author of Thrum that we just spoke about. I cannot wait to read more of her stuff. I also read my first Ashley Poston. I read The 7-Year Slip, was incredible. Can't wait to check out more of her romances. And I also read my first David Sodergren. I read The Har and so impressed. Cannot wait to read more from him. Those are my top 3 authors that I have read for the first time this year and will absolutely be reaching for again. Question number 8. Newest fictional crush. This one's always hard for me. I'm not someone that like super crushes on book characters, especially at this age, especially because quite a few of the romances that I've read this year have been YA. So I'm not about to have a crush on a 17-year-old, but if I absolutely had to choose, I'll give you a top 3. We have Dr. Xavier Rush from Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Such a golden retriever, gentleman, thoughtful, incredible. At number 2, the iconic Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I mean, there is a reason that so many fictional men are still held to kind of this standard. The yearning, incredible. He's thoughtful. He's selfless. Yeah, it's Mr. Darcy. Lastly, Stella from Game On. She is, she's a dommy mommy. Do I need to say more? No, I don't think so. Question number 9, new favorite character. This was such a hard choice. There have been so many phenomenal characters that I have read this year, but I think I have to go with Sin from Japanese Gothic. She is a samurai in training, just trying to make her father proud. She was so resilient and dedicated. I just really enjoyed reading from her perspective, and my heart broke so much for her. So yeah, Sin, absolutely. However, some honorable mentions because I can't not. We have the entirety of the gang from Six of Crows, iconic, incredible. And I have to shout out Muriel from The Har. It's rare that we get an older protagonist, and I was surprised at how much I really enjoyed it. She was incredible. So sassy and headstrong. I loved her so much. Question 10. A book that made me cry. I actually recently just did a whole vlog about this. So if you've seen that video, you know what book I'm about to talk about. It is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. If you haven't checked out that vlog and want to see me die a little bit. You can go check that out because, oh boy, this one hit me. This one hit good. This one hit hard. This is a historical Greek retelling set during the Trojan War. This follows Achilles and Patroclus. These are two boys that kind of grow up together. They train together and eventually go off to war together, and their love story. This was incredibly written. Madeline Miller has such a way with writing this beautiful lyrical, historical prose, but while also making it super digestible. These two characters were so lovely, dynamic, and clearly made an impression on me because this ending absolutely destroyed me. I was left staring at a wall for a hot minute, and I loved it. I was slightly regretting my choices when it was happening, but looking back, great time. Question 11, a book that made me happy. I have read so many books this year, thankfully, that have brought so much joy, brought giggles, laughs, such fun times. But thinking about which one I had the most fun with, the one that brought the most joy, I think I'm gonna have to go with the absolutely iconic Dungeon Crawler Carl. I finally started it, guys. I did it. I read the first Dungeon Crawler Carl book last month, and I get it. I get the hype. It was so good. It was so funny, goofy, silly, but there were also like these deeper themes of capitalism, and it was so good. Yes, some of the humor is a little immature, a little, dude bro-y, but I was trying not to take it too seriously, and I just had an incredible time. If you don't know what Dungeon Crawler Carl is about somehow, we're following this guy named Carl. He is taking care of his girlfriend's cat, and they end up in the apocalypse, where if you are inside of a building when this apocalypse happened, you were disintegrated. And now Carl and his girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, are left with a choice of trying to survive on the desolate earth or going down into a dungeon to play a game that is going to be televised for a bunch of aliens. Carl pretty much finds himself in a real-life video game trying to descend down into the dungeon and win his freedom. I'm so happy that I finally started this series. My husband and I are buddy reading it, so that is an extra layer of fun, and I just can't wait to continue this series. The penultimate question, question 12, what is the most beautiful book that I have acquired this year? And I'm usually not a super special edition kind of person, but I've actually gotten a couple of special editions this year. Granted, most of them came from Pango, but I'm happy to have added a couple of really pretty special editions to my shelf, but none prettier, I think, than The Library at Hellebore by Cassandra Call. This edition, the Evernight edition, is stunning. Evernight truly is one of the most beautiful special edition book boxes. It doesn't matter what book they do, it always looks incredible. And this is no exception. It's so gruesome and graphic. I love it. And lastly, what books do I need to read by the end of the year? And obviously, there's so many. It's countless. I do have a couple of yearly challenges that I'm working on. Sarah from Wicked Reading has a horror bingo. I have 4 or 5 spots left in it, so I definitely need to get that blacked out by October. I also really need to get to Alchemized. Oh my gosh, this book is so heavy. I cannot express to you how excited I have been for this book since its release. And I think the only reason that I haven't read it yet is because she is 1,000 pages. It's intimidating as hell. But I read the original fan fiction that this was based on, and 5 stars, incredible. So I just need to bite the bullet because I know that I'm going to absolutely devour this. I'm going to love it. I just need to do it. So hopefully I can get to this by the end of the year. I also, of course, have my 26 and 26 books that I am maybe halfway through. I'm not doing bad, but I'm not doing great either. So of course there's all of those books, the new releases that are coming out. There's just so many. There's too many books, not enough time. I'm just one girl. What can I do? I'm doing my best. But that is it, friends. We have sufficiently freaked out that is the tag. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know any of your answers to any of these questions in the comments below, especially what has been your favorite book of the year so far. Or if you just want to leave me an emoji to let me know you were here, leave me any emoji that screams summer to you. And while you're down there, don't forget to like the video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future. I hope you are loving what you are reading lately. Continue to stay safe out there, and I will see you soon for another video. Bye, friends.
Before you go, then make me. You didn't think I'd be here waiting up all night, all night. I'm here to tell you something. There ain't another love that is gonna hold you down like mine.